So, I'm fairly certain nobody asked for this, but we got it anyway. Hi, I'm John Stark from movieguy.com, and this is my review of Orphan, First Kill. I'm a blind film critic. I don't know if that matters here, but I throw that out there just because I'm going to end up talking about audio description, and just in case they're like, what is that? That's why. I did actually see Orphan. That was pre-blindness. This film, what was that, 2008? With Vera Farmiga and Peter Sarsgaard, as well as Furman in the film when she was 12. So we got a prequel many moons later. I don't know why. I didn't even know this was coming until I saw it on the list of films coming out this week. I was like, we made it, what? We made a prequel to Orphan? Like, I know we just had Prey come out, but we can't prequel everything. It doesn't work. It doesn't always work for everything. So I was super hesitant to go into this film. And I'll tell you, first of all, I got the little movie child in me got really happy when I saw Dark Castle Entertainment, because I don't know what they've been up to, but I remember a hot minute when they were making horror movies in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I missed them. I actually really liked that House on Haunted Hill remake, and 13 Ghosts was pretty good. Some of the other stuff wasn't too bad, but those are kind of like the top two, and I wish Dark Castle had a little bit more time to marinate. I appreciated what they were trying to do. This doesn't feel like a Dark Castle film at all. Like, not one bit. I would not have guessed Dark Castle until, like, it said it in the audio description. I was like, this is a Dark Castle film? What? So this is just the origin story. Unfortunately, Isabel Furman is now 25, so now she has to play somebody who actually is older, trying to pretend to be a 12-year-old instead of a 12-year-old that they just throw old age makeup on. So yeah, back in the day, it was kind of an amazing plot twist in Orphan. And I guess that's a spoiler. I guess if you have no idea what Orphan is and you came into this review and you're like, what? Although honestly, Orphan First Kill assumes you saw Orphan, because they reveal that to you at the beginning of this film, that she's not a child and she just looks like a child. So it's a spoiler for all of like 5 minutes ish before her character walks on screen, and then the doctor at this institution where she is explains her medical condition like out loud to the audience. So it's not really it's not a thing. Yeah, so she's somebody with a gland disorder that she's actually older, but she looks like she's 10, and she never ages, I guess. So she obviously makes her way out and heads out into the world, and this is, for those who watch Orphan and remember Orphan, this is the story of that family. You know, when they hand her off to Vera Farmiga and Peter Sarsgaard, and they say, you know, like, oh, her last family tragically died in a fire. This is that story. So again, probably should have said spoiler warning, but again, if you saw Orphan, you would know how this film ends, because this is the prequel to that. So they already told you in Orphan how that ended. I don't really know how to help you. So I know some people are like, all these spoilers are being thrown at me. It's like, listen, dude, they told you in Orphan, the first movie, I haven't spoiled anything for you that watching Orphan won't spoil for you. So, this is that. And we get to see that. But since the film has already spoiled itself, it has to figure out a way to be interesting. And a lot of people have talked about a plot twist. And when they said that, I looked at the film and I immediately thought, what could the plot twist be? And I was correct. Now, I did get my aim was off, so I won't totally spoil that for you, but I'll just say my aim was off. But I got, in the archery circle, where there's the red circle in the middle, bullseye, and then there are the rings around it. I got in the rings. I just didn't hit the bullseye. And that was without watching any of the movie. That was just understanding the plot synopsis of the film. I literally got to the ending of the film. That was that close to the ending of the film. But, so it's not that complicated, but it is fun to see it play out. I will say Julia Stiles is very aware of what film she's in, and that her career has come to this, that she's in Orphan First Kill. At least this was released theatrically. It's only in about it's in less than 500 theaters right now, but it was given a day and date release for those willing to take on a streaming day and date release. So she wasn't in a straight to streaming film. She technically was in a theatrical release this year. But yeah, so anyway, our fake little girl goes off she finds her way to this family with mom, dad, and a brother. Anytime I hear a kid named Gunnar, I'm just immediately assume, these are names we choose for kids from rich families. I think there's there's like a list of names that they go, we want this kid to seem uber wealthy. What name do we choose? How about Gunnar? And I'm like, ooh, Gunnar. Has there ever been a poor Gunnar in something in media before? I don't think so. I think they're always some rich brat somewhere. But sorry if your name is Gunnar, by the way. But I don't think many people. I've never met a Gunnar in real life, and I even lived in the Ozarks for a while, and it's not an Ozarkian name. I know Hunter is. Lots of people named Hunter, but I've never met a Gunnar. So I think it's a completely different set of people. But yeah, they have a son who was the older brother to their daughter, who has been tragically missing for a few years. And lo and behold, she shows up, and she's apparently got an accent and was kidnapped and taken off to Russia. And she doesn't remember much, but that's because she's not really their daughter. But, by God, she's going to try to be as much as humanly possible. She's going to try to pull this con. And that's kind of where the film goes off. I don't really want to spoil anything, so I'm going to stop telling you about the film there, because that's really where the film does get interesting, and eventually you get to the, ooh, shit moment. But it plays a little bit like the original Orphan film, by the way, but also not. It finds a way to reinvent itself. So I will give it kudos for that, because if it had just been a retread, how we always have these slasher movies and it's just like a new group of kids, but the plot really is the same. It's just new kids. They didn't really, this one actually flipped the script a little bit. And for a while there, you don't really know who you're rooting for. But it also has a lot to say about society. And I think that's one of the interesting things why I was making the joke about Gunnar being a name to pick for wealthy people, is because they make a huge sort of like class warfare thing going on here, where she found this like wealthy family with privilege, and there's this little scene where Gunnar says to her, he's like, I'm important, people like me matter. And you just feel like you're like, this was a film that was written clearly within the last couple of years. This film is trying to say something about entitlement and what that all means through Gunnar. Gunnar is a representation of a lot of ideas and concepts. I think he doesn't have many lines, but when he does have them, they're all purposeful, I will say. He's a very purposeful character in the movie. It's mostly Julia Stiles who gives actually a really good performance here. it's cheesy, but it's a good cheesy performance. So, and Isabel Furman, who last year got a Spirit nomination, she's still acting, by the way. She didn't, like, they didn't bring her back. It's not like she vanished after 2008. Um, but yeah, so this is out there. It's on Paramount Plus. Like I said, I don't want to talk about the movie anymore because I don't want to spoil the little ins and outs of the things it creates. The stuff I gave you, I don't consider to be spoilers because I just assume you've seen Orphan. I don't know why you would watch Orphan First Kill without seeing Orphan. And even if you had, or at least one of those things is told to you again at the beginning of the film, because again, that was the big plot twist in the first film, but this film also assumes, the film itself assumes that you've seen Orphan, so it has no problem revealing that she's not a child at the beginning of the film. So that's it for me on this. I thought the audio description was fine. I was able to follow all of the little ins and outs and all the creepy little details and all the weird shit that was happening in the film. It's not, I mean, there's some violence in it. I don't know that it's the goriest film in the world. It's just a run-of-the-mill horror film. Nothing too spectacular. Nothing you haven't seen. Definitely won't win any gore prizes this year. But I'm actually surprised this has a positive. It is not certified fresh, but the last time I checked, it was above 60, which makes it fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Just not certified fresh. So all you have to do is be above 60. I believe last time I looked, it was at 68% on Rotten Tomatoes. So that in itself should be an achievement. To be a horror film and a prequel that nobody asked for and to somehow be at 68% on Rotten Tomatoes, my God. So that should say a lot about where this film is. For me, I just don't think we ever needed a sequel to Orphan. And if this film didn't have Julia Stiles and didn't have a plot twist, I don't know how interesting this film really would be for me. The whole first part until we get to the family was just kind of like, eh. I don't really care. So that was it. And Julia Stiles kind of stole the whole movie for me. Even more so than Isabel Furman, who's just reprising a role she's already played. So it's a mixed bag, but I would give it a slight thumbs up. So I guess I would be saying that this is barely fresh. So I'm going to go ahead and give Orphan First Kill a C+. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was walking into like garbage, to be totally honest. When I heard that there was an Orphan prequel, I was like, this cannot go well. She's an adult now. I don't know how they're going to pull this off, but they did. So, somewhat. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. If you've been looking forward to it, let me know what you think in the comments. As always, please subscribe and like, and visit my website, movieguy.com. Visit the Audio Description Project, and visit theadna.org. And that's it for me today, and I will review something else, and I'll see you on the other side.